but webinar curve is much higher than Corona curve also.
I am sure everybody is adapting to this new phase.
Yes.
We have to.
Oh, yes, we have Maneesha. Thank you.
Good evening, Maneesha.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
So now we'll just. So hello everyone. Good evening. Hemanth looks like very hungry.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I didn't realize. Okay. I'll be careful.
Maneesha, yeah, we can see you now. Yes.
I'm not so used to webinars as you guys are.
At the outset, I would really like to thank everyone for joining and trusting the topic and giving full support in joining for this webinar for grade 12 students. The whole idea of doing this today was that we were expecting the results of CBSE anytime soon, and since we are expecting that now they will be coming on 15th, so this was an appropriate time, and also have full 360-degree turnaround that what exactly is going to happen. So we have Ashwini, who is a career counselor, and we have most of the questions for her. There's we had about 50 registrations for this webinar, and we have lots of questions for Ashwini. Then we have a lot of questions for Maneesha. That how does she make people employable, children getting employment. So that is another set of questions. And for Sangeeta, we have mainly questions about parents asking that how do we deal with children and as per their marks or their expectations. And now people are very, very anxious about what's going to happen, especially the graduating class of 2020. Very, very hard times, and this class of 2020 will be far more successful than many others because of the maturity, and because of the maturity they had to act because of these unprecedented times. So first of all, let's cheer up, the class of 2020 around the world. So I'm going to start with 3 cheers. Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Hooray! So the class of 2020 around the world, you are going to be the best and the most successful graduating class forever. Because the kind of adaptation with the class of 2020 has shown, I don't think anybody will be able to show in the future or in the past. So now Ashwini is a career counselor, and she's got a lot of experience in counseling children, talking to them about what career options they have, even in India and even abroad. Then we have Maneesha, who really helps, she really helps children to get trained with their skill, improving their skill set, and getting them even placements. So that is something which is very, very crucial, because we need, it's not just about education, it is about getting employability. So that is again something very big aspect. And Hemanth, who joined us, we would really want to know that what options do we have in India regarding pilot training, and there are a whole lot of set of questions about physics, chemistry, what do we need, what do we not need, age, etc. And Sangeeta, of course, you've been with children so many years now, that we will really take your knowledge and your experience and share this with the world today as to how to not just talk to our children, but how to calm them down during these times, and how is academic interrelated to success. All those type of questions we will be asking you. So now I would want Ashwini to introduce yourself, talk about yourself, and then I will have it won't be like it is going to be like a Q&A, but the question won't be like all the questions for Ashwini. No, we will just go around. We will have 1 or 2 questions for Ashwini, followed by some questions with Maneesha, and then some questions with Sangeeta, and also with Hemanth. So, but for the first time, I would want Ashwini to start introducing herself, followed by Maneesha, Hemanth, and then Sangeeta.
Okay, great. Good evening. My name is Ashwini Bhave, and I am a psychologist by education. And for the last about 15 to 20 years, I have been a personality assessor a psychometric assessor, and I have been doing coaching right from career coaching to executive coaching. So that is a little bit about me, and I've actively been pursuing counseling for students as well as professionals. So that is the gamut of my work, basically.
Maneesha? Maneesha, can you unmute yourself?
Unmute.
So this is Maneesha. I'm Chief Operating Officer for World Class Skill Center. It is a Delhi government skill development project, and that's about me. I have around 20 years of experience with the sales and skill development domain.
Who next?
So, yeah, Hemanth, introduce yourself.
Okay. All right. My name is Hemanth. I'm the Chief Executive Officer at Asia Pacific Flight Training Academy Limited. I have spent over 20 years in aviation. Before this, I was the CEO at GMR Airports, Hyderabad Airport, and we used to run Delhi and Hyderabad Airport. Looking forward to this session.
Sangeeta?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sangeeta Dhamija. I'm the principal of Millennium World School Faridabad. I have a rich experience of 27 years with the children. And I have been teaching almost all the classes all these years. So looking forward to a very enriching session. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now I'm going to start with my first question to Ashwini. Ashwini, there is a girl by the name of Neha. She's written to us. She's 16 years old and she's just passed grade 10 and she's fully confused. She doesn't know, there is no pressure from her parents' side that what she should take, but she's absolutely confused what she should take, what she should not take. And at this point of time, she says that, I don't know what's my goal. Ashwini, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yes. Doing that. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
So Neha, I'm sure a lot of 16-year-old, forget 16-year, a lot of us also sometimes are confused in terms of what we would want to do in our career. So definitely there is zero expectation from you in terms of knowing exactly where your journey really has to proceed. It is absolutely for you important one to know in terms of list down what do you like and what are the subjects that you like. It's not necessary that the subjects that we don't score well are also because sometimes also impacted due to the external circumstances. So don't make your judgments with what subjects you score well or what subjects you score high, because that may be also because of the teacher's contribution in terms of if the teacher is good, sometimes even if it is not a subject that we like, we tend to score more and we think that that is good and we choose our careers based on that. So my advice to you would be that explore yourself a little and also do an assessment, because it will help you to understand which are your core strengths, and then you can choose your subjects or your career based on that, rather than choosing your career based on your left hand. If you are a righty, then choose a career which is good for you in terms of which is your strength. So please use assessment, or if not, then choose subjects that you like and not necessarily score well.
Okay, just to go further on that, Sangeeta, this question is for you also, along with Ashwini. How important is psychometric testing with the kids right now? Because there are a lot of parents who want, but they don't want to go because of the cost, etc. Many times parents have come to me also that they would want to do a psychometric test, but then a lot of them drop out that it is too expensive and we don't want to indulge in that. So what I would want, since you've spent so much, 27 years with kids, Sangeeta, what are your thoughts about it? And Ashwini, how is it that we can make it, we can make it in a manner that it is easily available for children? Because there is a difference of free psychometric testing and the paid psychometric testing. And there's a huge difference between the outcome. So, I would just want your thoughts on that. And I would also want that, on this question, probably Hemanth and Maneesha can also join and, share, because it's a big issue about psychometric testing and, what children like and what they don't like. So starting with Sangeeta, what do you have to say?
I agree with you, Chavi. Psychometric test is very expensive, and most of the parents do not want to spend that much money. But I think Ashwini would be able to tell us better which are the agencies which are going ahead with the free psychometric test. But on the other hand, CBSE has introduced an aptitude test also. It doesn't serve completely the purpose of a psychometric test, but aptitude test to some extent gives you an idea of what the child is interested in the future, what are the basic interests of the child, and how to choose a subject in later in the senior classes. Psychometric tests, I as an educator, I have been dealing with children throughout. To some extent, I am not an expert, but we can guide children as a school counselor and help out children with that. If somebody is not able to afford the psychometric test, if they can get it done, I think it is excellent. But if they cannot get it done, there is nothing to worry. There are school counselors available, there are subject experts available, there are, as I said, in-house school aptitude test, and CBSE has also introduced an aptitude test. So there is nothing to worry as such.
So yeah, Ashwini, how about what are your
Yes,
thoughts?
so CBSE has introduced an aptitude test. So if somebody cannot afford it, I'm sure aptitude test will make sense. Couple of things in terms of psychometric, because there is a lot of air about psychometric test. So whenever you're choosing, and the reason I'm talking about it, whenever you're choosing a psychometric test, one thing is extremely important to know whether they are reliable, because today your market will have so many psychometric tests, but the reliability is not tested also. So they always talk about validity of an instrument, but not reliability. So you have to choose an instrument which has 0.8 as a reliability. If you have to make some kind of objective decision based on the psychometric assessment. If you're choosing a psychometric assessment which doesn't have reliability, then there are just a lot of more confusion in your life. So CBSE aptitude test, a well researched psychometric test is important. The reason I actually ask people or recommend people to do a psychometric test is because I always feel that it will give you, if you are looking about your even hand, left and right, if you are a righty, which means your left hand is not as functional as your right hand. So it's not that we cannot write with our left hand. We will be able to write with our left hand if we practice. If I start practicing with my left hand today, within 6 months, I will be fluent, right? But do you want to do with your career that throughout your life is the question, is what you need to address. So at least psychometric gives you an information which is your left hand and which career is your right hand, then you can choose objectively. And that is why I recommend psychometric tests, so that you can spend a good amount of time understanding yourself and objectively choose a career. So there are aptitude tests. I'm not too sure about free psychometric tests. And I also would like to just mention for parents, you would spend probably 2,000 to 2,500, 3,000 rupees on a branded shirt. Can't you spend that much of money on your child's future? I'm sure 2,500, 3,000 or probably less you can spend on your child's future to make sure that they're choosing the right path. It is more for parents to make that decision for their child. If somebody cannot really spend that money, I'm sure CBSE has aptitude test. So it is about priorities and keeping your child at your priority, in your priority list. Then I don't think tests are expensive. So nobody is asking you to spend 10,000 rupees, but 2,500 is still a decent amount. When you are ready to pay a lakh of fees or 2 lakh of fees for your child's future, then in comparison, I think that's a worthwhile money spent on assessment.
I would like to add here what Ashwini said. There are schools, including my school, we have been contributing 50% of the amount towards it. So all those parents who cannot afford, so we help out the children in that.
That's very nice. That's very good. Maneesha, what are your thoughts about the discussion, because you deal with so many kids and they are getting into a profession. Like when they come to you for training, they already have decided what they want to go, what they want to do with their life, on what type of field they want to pick up. So what is does it hold importance?
I think it has great importance, Chavi. And I would also go to the extent of saying that the government should mandate conducting, if not psychometric tests, but at least aptitude tests. And I would also go to the extent of saying that should not be after 12. It should be exactly after the 8th grade. Okay. So we are seeing a big platonic shift as far as education is concerned. We have been very successful in implementing happiness curriculum in schools, in Delhi government schools till the 8th standard. And we have seen a good amount of psychological shift in the children. Okay. And so I always advocate that skilling is to be at the age group where they can be molded, and after 8th standard, you can conduct their aptitude tests. You can actually know what sectors or what service sectors or what manufacturing sectors they would fit in when they grow big, or because after 8th they are very naive and they can be molded, but once they have passed on their 12th standard, they have their set mindsets. They don't want to break those judgments and mindsets that they've already built into their systems. So that is one. Two is that as far as we are concerned and our project is concerned, when we have the trainees applying for different courses, we have a panel sitting to interview them. So they would appear for a written test, they would appear for basic computer literacy test, and then they would appear in front of a panel which includes around 3 to 4 people who will be trying and analyzing their aptitude. If we feel that a particular trainee is not fitting into a particular sector and will not do good. So for example, if a trainee is coming across as a very introvert kind of a person, we would not want to fit him into a retail store or a front end kind of a hotelier's job, right? So we try and speak to them. So there are long interviews which range from 45 minutes to an hour. And then we analyze and try and fit them into different kind of sectors. That has been one. And the second is that throughout the courses that we run throughout the year, we regularly have the counseling sessions happening there. So I would always say that they have to adjust their radio frequencies, for that song of life to play for them. So we keep doing that regularly. So I would definitely agree with this point, that psychometric tests are very, very important. If they cannot be afforded by people, they can definitely go in for the ones which are economical. But at the same time, I would also say that we should make this as a mandate, if not psychometric, at least the aptitudinal tests for the students.
So Hemanth, over to you. What are your thoughts about finding out about psychometry tests? Because in corporate also there are a lot of psychometric tests which are taken.
Yeah. Hi. First of all, it's definitely a new concept. Now, all it does is I myself taken quite a few psychometric assessments as part of my appraisal in my previous company, FedEx. We used to not annual appraisal, but this is for promotions or for any new assignments or for career development, they would advise a psychometric. Now, psychometric again is classified into various, like for sales people, it would be a different set of questionnaire. For operations, it will be different. For analysts, it will be different, so that they judge your answers based on the job that you're supposed to do. Like for analysts, typically they would ask detail-oriented questions. For sales folks, it would be, how extrovert you are, how well can you speak, and then there's for leadership and all. So kids at this age, 17, 18, it is a very, very useful tool. I mean, I wish I had it, when I was that age. The result that comes out when you read it, it's fascinating, because it's almost like a astrologer, except this one is a scientific thing, and telling you that, this is how you behave in a certain situation, and these are your competencies, and this is what, you can do better. Some people are surprised that, based on the answers that they give, that they are told that they're very affable, that they can carry people along. They're very good at developing people. And when you talk to them, they say, no, I always thought I was a very shy person. And I'm very surprised to note that I'm being judged as a person, who is very good with people. So which means basically it's pulling out your hidden these things. And also your conditioning is based on what people around tell you. Or you're very shy. I was told, you were a very shy child since I was a kid. So I believed it that, okay, that's it. I'm shy. I can't be in any public facing, role. And I remember my first ever public speaking. I think for the first time, I studied. I didn't study in school also that much as I studied for that, speech. And now after that, sometime, on the way there in the car, I asked them, what is the topic today? And then you go and deliver. So that hidden thing comes out. So I definitely give a big thumbs up for that. People who can afford, and like I think Ms. Sangeeta said, by the way, congratulations on your promotion. I forgot to wish you earlier. If the schools are helping, brilliant. It's a small investment. I think Ashwini said there is about 2,500 rupees. You said that's nothing.
Yes,
when we started it in FedEx, it was 500 euros. Okay, 500 euros for one session, and that entailed a half-an-hour feedback session from the consultant as well. But then you get the graphs and you get the printouts and all. That's more than enough. If you want a session, you can always pay. 2,500 rupees is nothing. It's really worth it. But just pick the right one. I'm sure these expert young ladies here will tell you which one to pick it up. I can't think of anything, but I'm all for it. And same for the aptitude. In pilot training, there are some questions about pilot training. I'll answer that soon. Is that there used to be something called as a PABT, pilot aptitude test. Now, this was just, general reaction. How would you react to a certain situation? Okay. Now, there is no dogma about this, that this is what is right, this is what is wrong. Also, I hear sometimes folks coming and telling that I failed the psychometric. It's not a pass and fail test, first of all. It's just telling you what you are. So again, if you send a singer to a scientist job and say he didn't do well in the interview, he is a singer. Why are you interviewing? Why are you asking him scientific formulas? And vice versa. You bring a scientist and make him or her sing. Well, that's not really failure, isn't it? It's just the wrong interview. So the psychometric, there is no pass or fail. And whatever you give is just a reflection of you. So based on that, pilot aptitude used to be, and it was so draconian that if you fail that aptitude, PABT once, you can't be a pilot. People used to shiver because of that. Imagine one shot in a lifetime. Thankfully, it's been done away with. Now, you don't need that. Anybody can become a pilot, even me. Okay.
Okay, Maneesha, the next question is actually to you. I would want to know that, what options do you offer students through your skill council?
Okay, so through a skill project, we offer retail services, which is modern retail. We offer hospitality operations. We have digital marketing. We have and web development. We have data analytics. We have yoga, fitness, and sports. We have food production, and we have finance executive. So we have a whole range, and beauty and wellness is another course that we offer. So we have multiple and different streams of courses that we offer under the project that we are running.
And how is the curriculum prepared?
Okay, so the curriculum is prepared by the master trainers. The master trainers have at least an experience of 15 to 20 years in the industry. And they prepare the curriculum, and every 6 months, the curriculum is reviewed by an industry panel. So a relevant industry panel will review the curriculum. And if there are any changes whatsoever required, any tweak that needs to be done, any input that is given by the industry, that is incorporated in the syllabus, and we work like that. So we have made the curriculum a very adaptable kind of curriculum, because the ultimate aim is to enable the trainee to be fitting in the industry, and to ensure that there's minimalistic kind of attrition.
That's really nice. Like, you know, so all this project is from the Delhi government, or how did
this is a Delhi government owned, Delhi government run project. We started in 2013. This was initially in technical collaboration with Singapore, wherein they enabled us to set up our labs, you know, and they also gave us an overview of what curriculum designing is all about, what is coaching, and what is the pedagogy, you know, what are instructional skills. So all those trainings were received by us. Then we came back and we started the project here for the government. We were running only one center in Vivek Vihar till 2019 last year, but we have expanded to 6 more centers now, which is called phase 1. And we are on the move. We have 8 more centers coming up. So there are in total going to be 25 centers, skill centers of this project by the Delhi government.
Wow, that's very nice. Thank you so much, Maneesha. That was really, and you know, kudos to Delhi government for thinking like this, and actually, you know, the work happening when you told us yesterday that, you know, children are actually getting employed. So kudos to Delhi government.
Absolutely.
So moving on to Hemanth. Hemanth, the question to you, which has come from many children, is which country is best for pilot training? Because they haven't heard much about pilot training in India. And they say that for pilot training, we always have to go abroad. We can't think of doing it in India.
Well, which country? The answer is obvious, India, obviously. Okay. Now, I mean, listen, it's like this. I just got a question from one of the kids saying that somebody told them that they need 15,000 hours to become a pilot. Absolutely not. Otherwise, we'll only have about 7 pilots in the country. Okay. You just need 200 hours, 185 hours of single engine flying, and 15 hours of multi-engine. So in 200 hours, you get what is called as a commercial pilot license, popularly known as CPL. Now, we have close to around 30 odd flying schools spread all over the country. Some of them are government run, what do you call as old Aero Club of India, this thing. Some of them are closed, unfortunately, like Delhi Flying Club, DFC, Madras Flying Club, Calcutta Flying Club, simply because these airports have become so congested, it's not possible to train in the major metros. Bombay Flying Club is shifted to a small place called Dhule in Maharashtra. Hyderabad, we have 2, 3 flying schools. Ours is based out of Hyderabad. So in terms of the answer, the question, which country is the best? In terms of, first and foremost, irrespective of where you do your flying training, suppose you do it in US or Europe or whatever, you get that country's license. It's not like a car license that you can come and drive a car in India. So once you get a license there, you have to come back to India and then again appear for a DGC, a Director General Civil Aviation exam, which contains multiple subjects like, you know, metrology and, you know, combined air regulations and all. And then you need to fly, depending on which aeroplane you flew there, 10 hours, 20 hours, single engine or multi-engine, and then pass a check and get the license converted and get an Indian commercial pilot license. So you need to have an Indian commercial pilot license anyway, if you're an Indian national and you want to fly an aeroplane. A foreigner with a foreign license cannot come and fly here. So ultimately, when you have to come to India and do it, might as well do it. Now, yes, it's a good question to ask. How is the quality? Generally, like a lot of people go abroad for higher studies because the score, the colleges are better, infrastructure is better. Let me be honest with you. Among the 30 odd flying schools, the top 5, 6 of them, their quality is equal, if not better than most international flying schools. Okay. There are a lot of them, just like anything else, like in MBA college, the top 5 RIMs, IFTs, they're as good or better than anywhere else. But then there are some, you know, local ones as well. The quality of flying training done there in terms of both ground training, theory, as well as the single and multi-engine flying, similar to flying in checks, is absolutely top class. For example, I mean, I don't want to say the proof of the pudding is in eating it. Our school, which is Asia Pacific Flight Training Academy based out of Hyderabad, the proof of the pudding is that once you get your commercial pilot license, that's fine. But then the real rubber meets the road when you actually get hired by an airline. That means you're good enough to be hired. That's like any other school or college, that if you get placed, that means your college is good. Otherwise, no matter it's air conditioned or, you know, whatever it is, it really doesn't matter if you don't land a job. Now, our this thing is, we have 97.5% placement. And we are very precise on that. The other 2-3% is people, you know, who have gone abroad or got married and didn't want to pursue, etc. So this is the only job in the world. Once you join, till the day you retire, you're not allowed to do a single mistake. Even a doctor can afford to, you know, mess up and then blame, oh, to Bhagwan ne kiya and all that stuff, because he's not dying, right? It's somebody else who's dying. Okay, so here, you do a mistake, your history. So, and it's also a profession that young cadets who join after, you can start pilot training at the age of 17. Okay, as young as that.
That's going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So thanks for answering.
So ironically, you can be a pilot well before you learn how to drive a car, because in India, a car is 18, and by the time people get their license, legally that is, around 19 or so. So what happens is that at 17 or 18, your 12th pass, you start your training as well as you are flying. And by the age of 19 and a half, 20, if you're good and if you pass all your exams on time, you can be a pilot. And starting salary in an airline on a first officer, which is what is generally called as co-pilot. If you ladies want to guess, it is most of us folks at our age, that was a retiring salary. Okay, it's 36 lakh rupees per annum. At the age of 20, 21, that's what you get. Now, I can't think of any profession which pays that high a salary at the age of 20, 21. You're just a kid. I mean, you're not married, you don't have kids, you don't have responsibility. So though the entry point is high, in the sense that you have to spend a bit high, but then within 2 to 3 years, they pay off the loans and they fly. So, and from 20 to 65 years of age, the retirement age for pilots is 65. So you have 45 long years of service. With a starting salary of 36 lakhs per annum, you can only imagine where it can reach. The only condition is that you need to keep an absolute tip-top medical condition. You are tested every year for what is called as class 1 medical. Nothing, just eyesight, ear, heart, this, that, and the other. So lead a healthy lifestyle and enjoy. Okay.
Thank you, Hemanth, for such a such an elaborate answer, and a lot of questions have already been answered. So I'll move on to Sangeeta. Sangeeta, the question which has come to us, very often is that during boards, when the children are giving exams and when they are waiting for their results, how do they keep themselves? How the parents keep themselves motivated and calm? And what should they do? Because the results, they are giving exams and then they are waiting for results. And especially grade 12 is something which children are very anxious because most of the admissions are dependent on the result.
The day the result is announced, there's a lot of anxiety. Not amongst the students. In fact, I would say the parents and the relatives are more anxious about what is the result going to be.
Oh.
So we have to actually calm down the parents first than the students. Nowadays, more or less, students have a calculated percentage which they expect during the board examination. As you all know, 30% is practical in most of the theory and practical papers in all the subjects. So they already know more or less their practical marks or how they've fared. Out of 70 or 80 marks, there is a bit of calculation that they know that I'm going to fall between 60 to 70 or I'm going to score 75 or so. But that anxiety is still there. So first of all, parents need to relax. Parents need to tell the children to have a healthy diet, exercise, sleep well. when the result is going to be announced, they should initially analyze the result when they see the result, rather than calling up here and there, what's your result and what I was expecting and what you were expecting, because this is the general behavior that I have seen. We are more concerned about whether my friend has scored more than me or what I have scored. So let that seep in first, analyze, see where you have gone wrong, or if you need to apply for revaluation if you've really messed up the papers. Secondly, we need to tell the parents that life is not about numbers. It is just a moment at that time, because keeping the class of 2020 in mind, this has not been a complete year that the students have appeared in all the board examinations. So right now, still there were few exams pending, and the average is going to be given to the children. So they need to relax, especially the parents, as I said. And students should now focus on what is the next entrance they have to take, because marks is not the only criteria for the next step. So there are a lot of other, if if it's a science student, they are appearing for their engineering entrances. If they are medical students, they are appearing for their NEET examination. So it's not only the CBSE marks that are counted. So let's not give so much of importance to CBSE marks as of now. And as far as the Delhi University is concerned, if a child is good in extracurricular activities, the post-scholastic areas, so there is a lot of weightage given to students who excel in post-scholastic areas. And as Maneesha said, they are dealing with skill subjects. So CBSE has introduced skill subjects from grade 8th onwards. So children have a choice to choose their skill areas and appear for the board exam as well. So there's a wide variety to choose from. So that anxiety level, I think nowadays that has come down, but I feel parents need to be more relaxed than the students. And 2020 results will not be the barometer, because they're not the realistic results.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for, definitely parents should take a note that, 2020 results globally all over, they would not be realistic results for a child. So coming back to you, Ashwini, the question is that, is giving SAT necessary for studying abroad? That's another question which has come.
So SAT is important for US, Canada, and may not be for all foreign countries. So you have to decide which country you have to go, and then, or the college. But US, Canada, yes, you need SAT. UK, some institutes, some colleges don't require, some colleges require. India, even some colleges require, even in India, you need SAT exams. So if you if you can give SAT, and if you are thinking of going abroad, it's a good idea to give SAT as a backup, even if the college doesn't need, because sometimes those marks also count. Some universities, it's not mandatory, but when they have to choose between two students who have the same marks, then sometimes these do come handy.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. The other question for you, Ashwini, is that there is a boy, Dhruv. He's asked that he's 17 years old. He's finished his grade 12 in humanities, and he's interested to do history honors. So what he's very, very anxious that is it a subject which I'm choosing that future I will get employability or not?
Absolutely. So Dhruv, congratulations, even thinking that history is a subject that you can pursue. And at least in today, I'm sure initially there were no jobs very specific to history, but today you have a lot of jobs that will be coming out till the time you graduate. There is a lot of excursion happening. There's a lot of history that is getting looked at, realigned, rewritten in a way. There's a lot of work which is happening in terms of the monuments that are there. So history in today's time is one, it will in the next 3-4 years become one of the top subject that one will pursue. So there is a lot, there are a lot of museums which are looking at students who specialize in history. So those avenues will start opening. Yeah, so there are a lot of forts also that are getting redone, remake, in terms of from their old, looking at the old photographs, they are really doing all that. So history will be one of the top careers that will come in the next 3-4 years, if not immediately in the next 2-3 years. But it is gaining importance, which is there in the West. It is now gaining importance in India as well.
Okay.
May I answer?
Yeah.
May I just say something on the history part, though?
Sure.
I am not at all an expert on that, but I'm a big admirer and a follower of history. But as when I was CEO at the airport, one of our jobs was to promote tourism in India. Now, we all know that India has a vast tourism heritage, but it is also one of the most heavily underexploited heritages and potentials of India. We have over 7,500 kilometers of coastline, which is one of the largest in the world, with different temperatures, from cold to moderate. But how many water sports do we have in India? Once we went for a holiday, even in Kochi, we had to wait for 2 days just to get a water sport boat. And finally, we had to give up on that. Then, how many of us have seen the Taj Mahal, even within the country? Very few. Okay. Or any other historical monuments. Have you been to all parts of the country? No. One of the reasons also is lack of curiosity, because you don't know history, because you don't. Now, since I started watching, Discovery and History Channel, I made a list that I want to go to the pyramids, I want to go here, Babylon, I want to go to Cambodia, all that stuff. So history is important from that point of view, because this is a sector in India waiting to explode. Just like mobile phone revolution happened in the 90s, Indians do not go on holiday or on tourism. For us, holiday was going to auntie's house in, some place which is 6 hours drive or 10 hours drive. And then they reciprocally, auntie will come and stay with you. That's holiday, that's tourism, which is going away. Younger folks now want to go and explore. They want to go to Sri Lanka over the weekend. They want to go to, Middle East. They want to go to Israel when they have a long break, etc. So,
okay. I'm just interrupting, Hemanth, I'm interrupting you because I have a question which is coming. So I'm just interrupting this. There is one girl who's just completed grade 12. There are two questions. One is, what is the scope of radiology? That is from Naman Batra. And one more question is there, which is just going to come on the screen, so I'll share. So what do you have to say about that, Ashwini, that what scope radiology has and how somebody can, the boy has given, I think he's taken science and he's preparing for medical.
So please understand, any medical field anywhere in the country will be on the move for next whatever 5-6 years, whether it is Ayurvedic, whether it's homeopathy, whether it's MBBS, whether it's physiotherapy, whether it's radiology, anything to do with medical instruments and healthcare. The industry will grow, especially after this pandemic. It has to grow, because health will be on everybody's radar for the next few years till the time we settle. And it is absolutely a growing industry. You look at Gurgaon and you have within 3-4 kilometers there's a hospital in any metro city. So it will grow. It's a growing sector.
So yeah, we are having, I think there is some issue is happening with regards to internet connection at various places. So we can't hear Ashwini. So I will, Ashwini, can we hear you again?
I can hear you. Can you?
Okay, your voice was not audible. So I will just, so I'll come back to you in a minute, because there is one more question which has come from Pooja, this is Malvika. Malvika Jamwal. She wants to know that, she wants to take psychology, but she wants to know the scope of juvenile psychology precisely, and what are the steps for pursuing it.
Okay, so this is for all the psychology students and not only for Malvika. One, it looks to be a very fascinating subject. When you read psychology, it's absolutely fascinating, and we think that we can understand and read people's mind. But as a profession, it is extremely difficult. Imagine you talking and listening to somebody about their problems for 8 hours of your life, and coming back home and being sane. So my sincere recommendation is, when you are taking psychology, please really see whether you have that empathy to help somebody, a helping nature, first to take psychology, and not only focus on the psychology as an interesting subject to understand human behavior, and so that you can start reading people's mind. Because as a psychologist, you will stop reading people's mind if you want to live a normal life. So that's one. Second is, juvenile psychology, of course, in India is not a very well-versed area which is really developed. What you can do for sure is study psychology in India, at least till a graduation level, and then do specialization abroad. Because the whole world is coming to Indian psychology, and Indian students are studying Western psychology in our own colleges. So if first learn whatever Western psychology, because that's what is taught in the curriculum. But at the same time, you have an advantage staying in India, learn Indian psychology, because West is adapting our Indian psychology in their curriculum. So you are actually in a much better space right now if you're going to choose psychology studying in India. And of course, then go to West, because they have mandate 600 hours to finish under supervision, and they can individually practice, which in India, it is still developing. So I would suggest do post-graduation abroad.
Thank you. Post-graduation level. Thank you, Ashwini. We'll move on to the next question. Next question is for Hemanth. Is there a maximum age limit for becoming a pilot? Maybe what you can do is, Hemanth, you can tell us that, what is the minimal age and till when can we have become a commercial pilot, and explain that what kind of pilot training, what type of pilot training license are available for anyone to become a pilot, irrespective of age.
Right. First and foremost, minimum age to start training is 17, and you should have, by the time you're apply for the license, you should be 18-year-old, and to join the pilot training, you need to do with physics and maths and English as a subject. Physics and maths, basically. English, you should know, obviously, because the ICAO universal worldwide language is English, but that can be learned in India. That's not a problem. And your retirement age for a pilot is 65 years old, as I mentioned. So it's one of the longest serving careers you can do. Start at 18, 20. We have pilots becoming CPLs at 19-year-old. So they can serve for literally 46 years old in that profession. I also got some questions as to, can we do pilot training abroad or in India? Let me tell you, like I said, that even if you fly abroad, whether it's US, Europe, or New Zealand, one of the participants asked, you need to come back and again pass 2-3 DGC exam. The passing marks are minimum 70%. And then you need to do flying in single engine or multi-engine and pass various checks and apply for an Indian license. Then only you can do that. So first you're paying for the international license, and then you have to again come and do the exams and pass and apply for the Indian license as well. So the time taken is more, and also the cadet programs abroad cost as much as 1.1 crore, whereas in India, a commercial pilot license at our school, you do it around 42-43 lakhs. So the price difference is about 1/3, and there is absolutely zero difference between a good school in India and any other school abroad. We have had cases of pilots, cadets who had gone abroad and done their license. When they came, the curriculum which you follow, it's just like your course in 11th or 12th. When they look at the certificate, the same course should be followed by them. Like, for example, in maths, if you have algebra, trigonometry with X, Y, Z sections in 12th, the same curriculum should have been followed in US. Otherwise, that certificate is not accepted. So sometime when you come back with a license and the license curriculum does not match Indian license, you need to redo those tests. So all those complications are avoided if you do it in India. And it is definitely a fallacy that, like I said, we produce one of the best engineers, best doctors, best IT professionals, and we produce good pilots as well. Yes, you need to be careful about where you choose, just like any other school or college, and we'll be more than happy to provide. And you can check on our website the options available. It's apft.edu.in, and of course you can write in. So basic fundamentalist 12th pass, physics and maths you should have. 18 years of age, 17, 18 when you start, and 18 when you finish the course minimum. You should have a class 1 medical passing, which basically is eyesight, hearing, audiometry, and all that stuff. And you need to have police verification. And somebody asked that they're studying in Mauritius and elsewhere, can they do training here? As long as you're Indian national, you can fly in India. If you're a foreign national or a CI, you can still fly in India, but you need to get security clearance. That security clearance takes because you have a foreign passport. But or if you're a totally foreigner, should be a 12th equivalent. This thing. So most boards are equivalent or thereabouts, and those certificates need to be certified by an authority here, which is done, which is.
So now moving. Hemanth, the other question is that 17 is the minimum age to get in, but what is the maximum age?
I hope that clarifies.
So Hemanth is not audible. Now there are a few questions which are, to all of you. The number one question, since all of you are professionals, do you believe that knowledge is the key to everything? If yes, then why? And how that helps in succeeding?
Chavi, I would like to give an input in this.
Sorry, whatever you were asking, I lost. I just got dropped off and came back again. Sorry. Okay.
So I'm just going to repeat the question that to all of you, that do you believe that knowledge is the key to everything? And if yes, then why are we so academic and grades oriented society, where grades, because of lack of grades, children have taken drastic steps for themselves. So how do we curb that trend of marks and more marks? As a society, what can we do? Maneesha, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. So, Chavi, I genuinely feel that, and that has been an observation all along.
We are unable.
Is my voice clear now, Chavi?
Yeah, I can. Yes, your voice is clear now. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, I genuinely
Maneesha, we can hear you.
Yeah, I genuinely feel that knowledge is not the only key to success. Okay. And that has been a very, very strong observation. I believe it has to be hands-on, hearts-on, minds-on, and health-on kind of a curriculum that we need to promote in this country. This has been actually advocated by UNESCO and has been followed by 164 countries all across, which means that knowledge, though, is a very important aspect when we speak about succeeding in life, but awareness and action on knowledge and skills and a passion. So all these qualities which revolve around life skills based curriculum need to be incorporated in every part and every segment of the education system that we have built in this country, right from a very entry into the school till the exit and becoming a professional. I think it's a continuous learning that we do. And I always tell our trainees that it is more of unlearning, learning, and relearning. You know,
Yes,
we have to unlearn whatever is redundant, whatever is not suitable in today's lifestyle, whatever is, because see, Corona has given a very strong message to everybody. It has shook the very basis of the humans, you know, that I am a human being and nothing can ever happen to me. And it has not looked at who was poor, who is rich, who is affluent, who is not. It has brought people together. It has brought importance of families in the limelight. It has given the importance of health as a very, very important aspect. So I believe mental and physical fitness is a very, very important aspect and will be having a way to go if we speak about the current generation. They have to be mentally very, very fit. And I always say the complete system is run from here. Okay. So this is what is running the complete show for all of us. So if we are mentally fit, we are physically fit. You know, if a person is demotivated, non-confident, feels negative in life, the complete thing starts showing in the way we behave and the way we execute our daily chores in life as well. So I believe it has to be a LBSC kind of a curriculum, which is life skills based curriculum, revolving around every aspect of building a very strong attitude kind of youth that we are looking at. So grades, yes, they should have an importance, but more than grades should be connected with multiple other things. Like in foreign countries, we have uh, the students' ability to be able to connect at social level, to be able to give back to the society. So they have a mandate in many schools and colleges that they have to go to an orphanage. They have to go to an old age home and maybe given those number of hours and submit a project or an assignment. So those kind of changes need to be brought into the education system for us to be able to bring in that curve. And we have been talking about it time and again that this is the call of the hour. No better hour than this, especially post-COVID scenario, because it has already taught a very strong lesson to all of us.
Thank you, Maneesha. Sangeeta, will you add to your thoughts on this?
See, I would say knowledge is just the start, but action is the coin that you pay to get on the ride. So it is not only the knowledge that is important. When we say IQ is not the only thing, you need EQ and SQ, which is equally important, emotional quotient as well as the spiritual quotient. But I would add to it that the adversity quotient after Corona is all the more important than IQ. It has taken the first position than IQ and EQ. So whenever children are in school and we need to develop them holistically, marks will come later, but the life skills that we teach them, they will take them through life.
Okay, thanks, Sangeeta. Hemanth, you would like to add to this? Just unmute yourself.
Okay, very good point that both of you made, Maneesha and Geeta. One thing, please remember for all students, very few employers will hire you based on just the degree that you have or your mark sheet. Doesn't matter whether you're 95.5%, 99 in which case the interviews are redundant. You just send your score sheet and come and collect your appointment letter. And just today I saw some video. These days a lot of videos go viral, but never mind that. Is that when you're hiring, there are 3-4 things that you look at. Primarily, one and most important, whether you're joining as an analyst or a salesperson or an IT person, accounts, is your communication skills. And your first point of selling is you're selling yourself to the interviewer. There are 20 candidates, 30 candidates for a job, and you're saying, I'm the best, pick me. That's your first sales call. So irrespective whether you're on IT, finance, whatever, you're a salesperson first. And you should be able to communicate. And if you don't communicate, even your own ideas, for example, if you're an IT professional and your company is trying to take a decision on certain IT, you're not able to convince your board, your senior management, you'll be frustrated. They will not get the benefit of your expertise just because of poor communication. So that is first. So, and that we call as literary skills, which means you're able to read and write and understand well. So you read a manual, you understand, you do the work. You read a memo, you read an email, and you're able to action it very well without any mistakes. And then, of course, you communicate, both written and verbal. Second is numeracy skills. You should be good with numbers. I have interviewed n number of MBAs who, when we say, okay, what is the population of India? 132 crores. Can you write 132 crore, 227 lakhs, 32,042? You will be amazed at how many people are bold, middle stump. They are not able to put the commas in the right places. Anything beyond 10, I have had cases, so-called MBAs, not able to write their own salaries in lakhs and put the zeros and the commas in the right place. So numeracy skills are very important. Basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Basic averages, basic percentages. Like I ask a question from a secretary, what is 30% of 650? Reach for a calculator, reach for a mobile phone. No, just tell me verbally. I said, okay, remove the 50. Tell me 30% of 600. Now, if you're not able to, instantly calculate, that is 180. And you are looking here and there, that means your numeracy skills are not solid. Doesn't matter whether you got 97% in maths or not. Because in the job, on the spot, you need to think on your feet. So literacy and numeracy skills. Third one is your attitude. There is no job in the world which you cannot do, including a chemical engineer's job for an art student and vice versa. Trust me, you can learn and do it. Dr. Kalam is a very good example of where he started and where he went. Okay. And in my previous company, in FedEx, our president for Europe, Middle East, Africa, Indian subcontinent, when our chairman went and met, we had a meeting in Memphis in their headquarters. He was president for Europe, Middle East, Africa. That's 144 countries and $1.8 billion was the turnover he was handling. He looked at his resume, president, senior vice president, before that vice president, before that director, before that. He looks on the bottom and he says carpenter. He says, is this for real? Is this guy was a carpenter? I said, look at the next one. He says, where is housekeeping jobs? Guy started off as a carpenter and he was doing housekeeping. Then he studied through a school, went on. He's the president of a $72 billion company, which is ranked as a great place to work for in Fortune and Forbes for the last 40 years in a row. So there's nothing that you cannot master. Don't worry about what degree you did. You did BA, BCom, doesn't matter. Pick what you want. Get these two skills right, literacy and numeracy skills, and then an attitude and an absolute burning desire that I'm going to do this, I'm going to learn it. And I'll just end this by saying, a few years back, we had a dentist. How do I know her? She came to us for commercial pilot license. She was a dentist. She decided halfway through that she's not enjoying being a dentist. And, her fiancé was a pilot, and she thought that his job was much more exciting. Midway through, against all her parents, this, that, saying that, no, I'm going to be a pilot. And about 2 years, she was a pilot, and she's most happy. So don't worry about your past or presidents or whatever. If you have these basic skills and you have a burning desire, you can learn everything. Thank you.
Okay, so I have two more questions. One question is for for all of you to answer, because now children will be going for a lot of interviews and group discussion. So, if all of you can give 2 points how to prepare for group discussions, that would be nice. So I'll start with Ashwini.
I think for group discussion, it's important, one, to know your subject, but also what's happening in the country or everywhere. That is more important, because if you know what's happening in and around, and if that will actually help you to crack any interviews, because that's the least importance that we look at. We always look at whatever we've studied, our marks, maybe communication skill is also taught in school, but what is happening in the world or reading a newspaper, that is absolutely no for a lot of students. And if you can inculcate that habit in terms of current affairs, then interviewing will become easy. Because nowadays interviews are not about what you know, but what is happening and how can you use that information during the interview. And in any of your problems or any of your, even in the college, there are my internet seems to be a little unstable. But anyways, even in college, they are asking about current affairs because they want to know how well abreast you are with today's time. You can't be only a bookish kid because that's only going to give you a little. It might just give you a foot in the door, but it will not take you further. So knowing about current affairs and also improving your communication skill and application of whatever you have learned are the important things.
Okay, Sangeeta, would you add to that?
Yeah, of course, like Ashwini said, apart from the general awareness, I think communication skills are very important. Though in schools we give them a lot of exposure, we have a lot of mock drills, we have a lot of mock sessions whereas group discussions are concerned. One thing which I feel that the students face is that some children try to overpower few children who are not very good in speaking, or they take certain time to probably think what they have to answer. So they need to immediately not allow anybody take over the discussion, one, because this is what happens when we have a mock group discussion. They all start speaking and shouting and try to overtake each other. So one is that decorum should be maintained. Second is that one should not try to repeat the points what others have already spoken. So that is very important to keep in mind when students go for group discussion. One, communication skills. Second is your time limit. And along with the time limit, do not repeat.
Okay. Maneesha, over to you.
Yeah, Chavi. So I'd agree with what both our esteemed ladies have mentioned here. That one is that you need to be well prepared with the current affairs, and the second is the communication skills. And yes, I would like to add in to this that when we speak about communication skills in the interviews and in the group discussions, I'll just give a tip. We have mock group discussions, and we have mock interviews at our training session also. We have learned from the industry that we need to have moderators while we are conducting group discussions. So moderators take care of the fact that they raise their hand and they speak on their turn, and so there's no fish market that is created while a group discussion is happening. Yes, I would also agree that they do not need to repeat the points. They need to be very, very, intuitive, and they need to think on the feet. For that, a continuous practice, if that has happened on various topics, then I'm very sure they don't speak out of turn. Communication skills, I would like to add in a very specific point, and that is the 7% rule. Okay, it says that 7% of communication only is verbal communication that matters. Okay, 93% of communication is non-verbal communication, and when I say 93% of communication is non-verbal, 55% of that is body language, and 38% of that is voice. So you need, and we all need, to ensure that our students and the children, whoever are even listening to this session right now, whom we are training in schools and different, skill development institutes, the focus has to be on voice and on body language, because that is the 93%. It is huge. Okay, and what manages body language? Why is it undermined? Why is it not for the whole life? We are told, you should improve your communication skills. Means quote unquote, it means English speaking. It means speaking fluent English. If I talk about a stereotype that has been made in the Indian mindset, that has got a lot to do with our own inferiority complex as Indians, that we are somewhere less. And that has been something that has been left by the Britishers in us. Any which ways, but communication means to be able to communicate anything strongly, without any, 0.001% of miscommunication happening between two people or a group of people. So it can be any language they use, but the major role play has to be 55% of the body language. So they have to be taught on the body language, how to walk, how to sit, how to walk in a corridor, when to put, hands in the pocket. They cannot be putting hands in the pocket in front of their boss standing on the store, if it's a store manager coming there, right? They cannot be putting hands in the pocket and walking like a boss if it's a customer in the store walking in, right? They need to control their voice, their pitch when it is a boss or when it's a subordinate, how to speak. So more than what is to be spoken, what is important is how it is to be spoken. Only 7% of the words matter. Okay. So I think the training at the schools level and at the training institutes level and everywhere all around in skilling domain has to be primarily focused on the non-verbal. And verbal, yes, verbal, anyone knows what is to be spoken. I'm confident. I can do work wonders for your organization. The resume is what they would speak all, right? But how they speak will make a difference between who is selected, how they enter the room, the interview room will decide who is selected. And you'd be shocked at the research which says that initial 90 seconds, the people have already made up their mind whom to select, whom not to select. We are speaking about 90 seconds. Okay. So it's the moment they enter and they sit and they just put their resume on the desk. So I think more than a verbal, it is a non-verbal skills which need to be pushed into. And for group discussions, we can have moderators who need to train them how a group discussion has to happen. So they don't speak out of their turn. They know what is the professional way of conducting a group discussion.
Okay, over to you, Hemanth. There are two questions for you. Yes, of course, about group discussions. If you can sum up point-wise so that children can, whenever they see your video, it is very clear that, what is necessary in group discussion. And the second question, which is coming again and again, even on my WhatsApp, is that, how should we choose a pilot training school? What are the barometers of choosing a pilot training school? So these are the two questions. We are now at 8:13, so we will end in the next 10 minutes. Okay. And,
Right, thanks. Now, first I'll answer the easy one, how to select a flight training school. Most important is that you check their safety record. That is the most important. Unfortunately, in the country, in the last 1.5 years, there have been 2-3 fatal accidents. So safety record is very important. Second is the placement record. Like if all their pilots are engaged, employed, and working, very good. Third one is the instructor experience. I would put that even before placement, right after safety, because both are connected. Like for example, it's the machine and the instructor which makes the pilot school. It's not the air-conditioned offices or how good-looking the greenery is or whatever. It is the instructor and the pilot, just like any other school, more so here because this is a life and death profession. Glamorous or well-paying it is, but it's a life and death profession. Every time you get into the cockpit, you're doing something unnatural. Anything above 6 feet above the ground, you could get hurt, and you're going to be flying 6,000 to 8,000, 10,000 feet. And then when you become a commercial pilot, you're going to be flying 30,000 feet above the ground. So instructor experience is most critical. Their instructional experience that can be checked by writing and asking from the school. Okay. So other than this, in India, like there are about 3-4 top schools from where you can avail that. Now there are, just like in MBA colleges or whatever, there's divergent difference between the charge of one school versus the other. Okay, not too much. The cheapest one still will be around 20-25 lakh to 30 lakh rupees. And the most expensive in India is around 40 lakh. So it's not too much of a difference. But there are a lot of schools in the country, unfortunately, who do not follow the norms, just like driving schools. They don't go through the entire forum and they say that we'll help you get the license. Now, you can't do that in flight training. They can, some of them fudge the flying. Instead of 200 hours, you've done 150 and they will, fudge it as 200. These are reputations which when you look around, ask around, you will find out. Obviously, we don't do any of one of those. So geographical location is not very important, where you stay and where your school is, because it's like if you're joining an MBA school, if you get an IIM entry, whether you're in Kozhikode or whether you're in Indore, irrespective of where do you stay, you will go and do that. So it's for 18 months, you do the course and come back. So one is, most important is the safety record, the instructional experience record, and then a reputation of the school in following the norms and laws of aviation. Very, very critical. So you can look at that. Next one was about your group discussion. Very good point. Group discussion normally is used by companies to filter when you have a large number of candidates. Like if you have one position, or let's say 3-4 positions, and about 100 have applied, you are not going to be interviewing all 100 because it's going to take a lot of time. So some people do return tests, but that's okay. But the other faster way of filtering is group discussion. So you split these 100 people into 4 or 5 groups or 6 groups or 15 odd each. You give them a topic. One of the things that I look at, like I graduated from, I did my MBA from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, IIFT. And every year I go there to talk to the students, the pass outs of that year, how should they be prepared for going for the interview. Yeah, sure. One thing is you should be well dressed, as in neatly shaved, or your hair done and all that stuff. One thing that puts off potential hires is that you come shabbily. If for an interview, which is your most important first step of your profession, if you did not prepare, you're not likely to be well prepared for the rest of your life. Need not be that you are in a suited booted, because nobody expects a college kid to be in a suit boot, but a clean shirt or a clean skirt, pant, whatever you want to wear, and well coiffed, fingernails should be clean. If you put your hand on the table and then you see that the fingernails are not clean, that's not going to give a good impression. That's first. Second, I think Maneesha mentioned that you should be able to communicate well. Now, depending on what the job is, okay, suppose if they are asking for a job where you need to speak to international clients, etc., they would obviously expect to have good English. And if you're addressing a domestic audience in some certain part of India, let's say North India, Hindi is fine. But if you're going to be doing it in South India, local language is good. English normally works as a universal language in the country or across. So depending on the need of the company, communication skill. Now, in this group discussion, some people tend to think that if they speak the loudest and the most, they get noticed. Not necessarily. Put your point across succinctly, firmly, but you need not shout the other person down. There will be some people who will try to dominate and not let you speak. Firmly put your hand up and say, excuse me, can I have my time, please? Excuse me, can I make my point? Yes. Okay. And then you talk nicely and say, thank you very much. Carry on. Once or twice you do that, they will let you give time, because some people are misled to say that don't let the others speak, you only speak, you'll pick out. You could end up turning off the interviewer, saying, this is how this guy is going to behave, even in office, even in meetings. He's going to be making too much noise, not letting the other person speak. That's not the right way. The content of what you say is more important than how loud you said it or how often you said it. Think before you speak, come up with good 2-3 points succinctly, say that. Then towards the end, if it's a 10-minute discussion and if there are 5, 7, 8, 10 people, they say that, okay, folks, can we sum it up? Try and smile. Smile a lot when you speak. Don't look so intense or angry or whatever. Smile. Let people see that, it's a pleasant face, because people like talking to pleasant people and not like talk to people who are scowling. Okay. So when I initially started speaking, people took photograph of me and saying, what was this expression for? What were you talking about? I said, oh my God, did I look like that? He said, okay, smile more. So that helps always.
So there is another tip. What you can do is, carry a smiley. And that really helps, because, when we are talking, especially as kids, we forget. Even as adults, when we've got so much experience, sometimes we just forget to smile. And we just get engrossed into the discussion. So my last question to all three of you is, how would you define success? And we start with Hemanth, and we then followed by Maneesha and Sangeeta, because Ashwini probably had to leave for whatever reason. So the last question is, how do you define success?
Oh, how do you define success? For me, most importantly, am I unmuted? Yes. For me, most importantly, is that everybody has some dream when they are in 10th, 12th, thereabouts, that this is what I want to do. Now, no dream is, outlandish. You might want to be a film star, so be it. You want to be a cricketer, you want to be, sports person, anything, okay? A politician, why not? We need some good ones there. We all know that, okay? And, Delhi, you have somebody, very well educated and then still chose politics. So we need more of those. So whatever that is, pursue that. And if you are in any way aligned or go towards that, lucky enough to, because not many of us, at least in our generation, got to choose what we wanted to do. We were asked to do what was available or what our parents or people around us thought we were capable of, depending on 10th class scores, okay, and so on and so forth. So if you get to do what you wanted to do, okay, that is the first barometer of success, okay? Like you wanted to be in fashion design, in whatever capacity you're somewhere there. You're still not, Christian Dior, but still you're somewhere there. That's success. Second is you look forward to going to office on Monday, okay? This is something that I'm looking forward to, rearing to. If you say, oh my God, why don't we have a holiday today? There's something wrong. You need to, retune that. And in case, whatever you're doing, you're getting a, good salary or getting a good, whatever, business card, but still you're not enjoying it, it's never too late. Even if you're 50, 55, 60, they keep giving this example of Colonel Sanders, KFC. At 67, he decided to be a restaurant, and look where he's reached. So doing what you want to do and looking forward to doing that every morning, every Monday morning, for me is success. Of course, if you're doing these two, normally salary and other stuff falls in place automatically. Thank you.
To add, I just had we went to a school for football, and we found one trainer, Mr. Harish. He was playing football at the age of 15, 16, and then he left to start working and things like that. Now at the age of 40, he's opened a football training school, and I have had a lot of experience with seeing all the football schools in Delhi. I feel that he's the most committed one, just because of passion. So, if we can get the opportunity of choosing what we like, that's the best option to define success. Over to you, Maneesha. Ashwini, this is the last question. We are asking how do you define success? So, Maneesha, Sangeeta, and then you.
Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you also. Thanks for joining back.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
So I agree with what Hemanth said. I believe it is. I always rename it as soul's calling. Okay, so success is being happy. End of the day, I must want to get up in the morning and be very, very energetic going to office on every Monday morning, right? And every bit of my day I should be able to enjoy. That is the definition of success. And it boils down to the question that we started with. That is, we started with psychometric tests and we started with aptitude tests. So whatever is of interest is the soul's calling. And generally, as Hemanth said, we're not able to follow what we wanted to do in life. Fortunately for me, I am in my soul's calling. And this is something which I love doing. But for most of the people, yes, this is not that. So, but because we are addressing to the younger generation, I would always suggest that please go for your soul's calling. Please go for your interests, no matter how weird they are. And I would also go to the extent that, Chavi, we have trainees who come in retail. So retail is very vast, right? We have shoe retail, we have accessories retail, we have apparel retail, you name it, and they are placed in those brands. So about 3 years back, I had a candidate, I generally ask one question from all of them, and that is, who out of you has a very clean thought what you want to become after 2 years? Okay, what is your, after 2 years, where do you want to be? So there are very less trainees would come up with a very concrete answer. They are vague. They don't know what they're going to do. But there was one trainee who came back to me and said, Maneesha, ma'am, I want to open my bar and restaurant. And so I placed him in a liquor retail internship. He did an internship with liquor retail, Johnny Walker. He worked there for 2 years, and today he has 2 bar and restaurants. He opened those bar and restaurants with his friends. Okay, so I genuinely believe that whatever is of interest ultimately gives us happiness, and that is the only parameter of success. And because once you're happy, yes, as Hemanth said, salaries and all those things will fall in place any which ways. So we have had many success cases when the trainees were paid like 30K. They are department managers now with H&M. They are department managers with store managers with H&M now, Marks and Spencer today, because continuous counseling also keeps happening, that you should go back to your work. And if they are very creative, they are put in visual merchandising, which is a creative side of retail. So yes, whatever interests you and turns you on is what you should follow.
Over to you. Thank you, Maneesha. Over to you, Sangeeta.
My definition of success is that whatever you are doing that makes others better, healthier, happier is success. And the benchmark of success is created by us only. So I don't have to look at others. If I am at 0.1 today and I reach 1.5 or 2, that is my success. So I don't have to look at others. Second is I would advise students to follow their passion. If that passion can become their career, it is a success.
To add over here, because there are a lot of children who will not be able to follow their passion. Let's be very realistic. That there will be a lot of children who will not follow their passion because they won't even know what their passion is. That is also the question. So as Hemanth said, I think that even if they have done any subject, they can choose as and when they understand what works for them in their life.
Right now, there are n number of options for students. So nowadays, parents also don't mind if a child says that I want to go in for a career which parent has never ever thought of.
Thought or heard of.
Yeah. So probably the students that we are teaching right now, they will be picking up careers which we don't even train them for. So if they are happy doing what they are doing, I think that is the definition of success.
So you are the last question is to you, Ashwini.
Yes.
How do you define success? Since you do so much counseling, what do children talk to you and what do professionals talk to you? Let's just share with us.
I completely agree with Sangeeta, and I'm not too sure if I heard Maneesha right. But success is your own definition. You have to define what success is. Nobody else can define it, because then you are pursuing somebody else's goal and then you are a puppet in somebody else's hand. So success can never be external. It has to be an internal factor. That's one. Second is success also has to be growth. That is, every day you grow. It is not when I started, success meant something else to me. Today, it means something else to me. So success is a growth path. It is not an absolute figure. It is not an absolute destination. So it is a growth perspective. And third thing, when you are every day growing, there will be a point in time in your life that you will be able to do that work for 14, 16 hours without even getting tired and coming back, sleeping, dreaming about it in your dream and getting up in the morning with that excitement without an alarm clock and going back to work. And that is where you will find your passion. If you start finding your passion today, it's not going to come. So it's an unrealistic dream. But when the growth and passion really meet each other, then money and everything will become secondary. You will just be happy as a person. And I think that's what is important. And that's what success is. So that's my definition of success.
So the last one more question to all of you. Ashwini, I'll start with you. Okay. What is the message? What is the message which you want to give to the students who will be seeing their results in the next 3-4 days for grade 10 and 12? keeping in mind that this is graduating class of 2020 and also grade 10. A lot of children, their exams haven't completed and things like that.
Yeah. So my message to them is first pat your own back. So whatever you've done throughout the day, you have to acknowledge your own self. This has been a difficult year for everybody. So survival of the fittest is what this year is all about. So give yourself a pat and then decide where you want to grow. So don't worry about numbers and marks. Maybe you don't get the best college that you aspire for, but end of the day, what you learn is your own, and it is about you learning whichever college you go. So if you're focused in doing well in that area, sometimes college can take a backseat. So don't get disharmed. I mean, don't be sad if you don't get the college of your choice or the subject of your choice. If you have the passion or if you have an interest in a subject, be sure that you will be successful in life. So first, pat your back for whatever marks you've got, and then see what you want to improve.
Thank you so much. Now to Maneesha, message for grade 12, class of 2020.
Yeah, so my message is that kudos to all the efforts that have been made by the families and the children together, because that's always a collective effort, and the principals and the teachers all together. So it's been a very tough year on all. And as Ashwini very rightly said, I have witnessed it. I'm a witness to it. I have seen that, the college degrees and which college you pass out from, which college not, actually is not going to define your success. So if you are not even able to enter into a particular college of your choice, they don't need to be disheartened, because success is not going to be determined by that. I have seen children and students and trainees who have not been educated at those well-to-do colleges, but have done wonders with themselves and their lives. So it has got everything to do with the attitude they carry. And I would again reiterate, it is going to be all about mentally fit and physically fit. The person who will survive, will be the person who is having a very, very positive attitude. So that is all I have to say. They have already done a great job, all of them.
Yeah. Thank you, Maneesha. Over to you, Sangeeta.
I think this has been a very difficult year for the students. We are all in the same boat, and we have survived this year, and we are still in that journey of survival. I think that is more important than the board marks. We all know it's not been an ideal year or a perfect year. So all those students who are scoring are also, on the same barometer as others. So it is not that you are getting good marks or less marks. So let's forget about the marks for this year. And I would like to add that what we study and what we do in life sometimes even does not match. So we don't need to fret about the results. Just be happy, be who you are.
Okay, so the message is pat yourself, be who you are, and you will define success irrespective of the college. So over to
Definitely.
The man here, over here. Hemanth, what do you have to say to the class of 20, graduating class of 2020? Message, like some very clear message, and then we'll close from there.
All right. Well, excellent. I've been furiously typing. I'm sorry if some of the spelling is not really up to the mark, but I guess you got the picture. Now, yes, it's been a very different year, and especially for some of those folks who were left with like 1 or 2 subjects just before the lockdown. So for 3 months, they were hanging there with don't know what to do, what not to do. I can't imagine that. That must be really tough. The lucky ones are the ones who finished before the lockdown. At least they could relax and watch Netflix, without any guilt. So I fully empathize with what you all went through. Please understand one thing. The world has not fallen apart, at least not yet. So this, whatever has happened, has made a lot of cliche terms are being used now: new normal, this, that, and the other. The world has gone through such terrible situations in the past. Long before even your parents were born, World War II disrupted entire Europe. upside down, completely destroyed it. A lot of countries lost millions. I mean, 6 million Jews were murdered in Germany alone during World War II. And look where Germany is today. And that happened within 10, 20 years. It had the highest foreign exchange record. It had the best human rights record, best democratic record. So these situations are tough as they are. They will pass by, and you're too young to be affected too much because you've got another 3 years of education. Just focus on whatever you wanted to do. If you had a lot of time to think about it, like somebody asked me, I did a medical stream 12th, but I want to do something other than that. Go for it. 12th is too early to choose any one fixed career. Trust me, you will not even choose it after graduation or post-graduation. And like I just gave an example, a lady, after she became a fully qualified orthodontist, she wanted to be a pilot. She decided to do that and be successful at that. So go put all these thoughts behind that what's going to happen, a new normal and all that stuff. Pick the subject that you want to choose. Never mind what you studied for or what your parents want, your friends want. Choose what you want to do. Career counselors like Ashwini and Maneesha and all these ladies with a lot of experience, you can ask them. And then once you choose that, go full-fledged till you finish it. That's all I would say. And rest, don't let the pandemic and other things bother you, of course, other than taking care of your health. And hopefully India becomes a bit more hygienic because of this fear. Yeah.
Thank you, Hemanth. Thank you, Hemanth. So thank you, everyone, for joining. And I will just sum up the learnings from this, from our chat today. Psychometric is essential, so please try and invest in that. Second, choose your passion, identify your passion. And there are a lot of ways to identify. You can send us emails and we can send you separate answers to that. And the third is, do not fret for your grades. Most important, do not fret for your grades. Take admission in whatever college you get. And there will be a lot of kids who would want to take a gap year. I would recommend that don't take a